So welcome to the fifth lesson of our year for Algebra 2. So we're going to go ahead and start out something calm. So multiply each pair of binomials. Some of you do this by doing the box method. So you go like this, like this, like this. Whatever's here, you put here. Whatever's here, you put here. So 5x minus 3. And then the other one is 2x, so that goes there. And plus 7, so that goes here, and then you multiply. So 5x times 2x is 10x squared. 2x times negative 3x, times negative 3 is negative 6x. 5x times 7 is 35x, and 7 times negative 3 is negative 21. Okay? Some of you do not do it like that. You do it by FOIL. First, outer, inner, last. Either way you do it, you still get the same answer. So what we need to do now is combine the diagonal. So this is the diagonal, so these terms right here. So the 10x squared doesn't combine with anything, so we're just going to write 10x squared. 35x minus 6x, or negative 6x plus 35x, same thing. That's going to be a positive 29. And then this is x, and then this is minus 21. Okay. All right, so that's how you go ahead and solve the first one, and you could verify in your calculator by doing 35 plus negative 6 or 35 minus 6, and that gives you where the 29 comes from, okay? This one is also squaring, right? Remember, squaring means to multiply by itself. So we're going to equal this to x minus 8 times x minus 8. And so you could either do box method or FOIL here. Because I did box method here, I'll go ahead and FOIL for those of you who like FOIL. Let's go with blue. So x times x gives us x squared. X times negative 8 gives us negative 8x. I put this term's answer underneath because they're going to eventually add. Negative 8 times x is negative 8x. And negative 8 times negative 8 is, go ahead like that, yeah. Negative 8 plus negative 8 is going to be positive 64. So plus 64. It glitched there for a second. So that's going to be plus, whatever it feels like working again, plus 64. And then we're going to combine like terms. Why did I just cross everything out? So good. So it's going to be x squared, negative 8 gives us negative 16x, and this is plus 64. So that's our answer for x minus 8 squared. All right. Again, this part we're going to go in class, so just follow along. Over here, model problem number 1. So this here is a monomial, right? There's a negative sign, but there's no like a plus or a minus sign like there is here. So this is a monomial times a binomial. So what we have to do is just distribute here. This is very similar to if I give you a problem like 3 parentheses x plus 2, right? You would do 3 times x, which is 3x, and 3 times 2, which is plus 6. So that would be our final answer. It's very similar here, except now we're going to do stuff with the i's that we've been working on, all right? So negative 3xi squared times 2xi. That's our first thing that we're going to go ahead and do. So negative 3xi squared times 2xi. Okay. The reason why I wrote it out instead of just putting answers is because I want you to practice this just to make sure that you're good. So negative 3 times 2 is negative 6. X times x is x to the second power. I squared times I, there's an imaginary 1 here, so that's going to be I to the third power. Okay, so now right now what we just did is, going back slow-mo, is I just did this, and that gives you this answer that we just got. Okay, then we need to do this. So negative 3x I squared, so negative 3x I squared times negative 7, and we are going to go ahead and there's no sign here in between, so we're going to combine them. So negative 3 times negative 7 is a plus 21. Good. X, there's nothing here to combine that with, so I'm just going to put an x, and I squared, same thing. There's nothing to combine there, so I'm just going to write I squared. Okay. So now there's we talked about this just to kind of make sure that we are good with this. I'll put this in bright orange. I squared and the I to the third, those two can be simplified. So let's go ahead and take our calculator here. I is right here above the decimal point. So if I go I to the third power and I hit enter, I'm going to get negative I. So this is negative 6x squared, right? That part's just going to come down. And this I cubed, the calculator just gave me that that's the same thing as negative I. So I'm going to put times negative I. All right. Then I have a plus 21x, so that just comes down. And then I squared, let's go ahead and plug that into the calculator. So instead of I to the third, I'm going to go ahead and put I squared. And again, I just cheated instead of typing it in again. Then I'm going to get negative 1. Okay, negative 1. All right. So now let's go ahead and simplify this, right? So I'm going to go ahead and take a look at this and say, okay, let me change colors here so you can see what I'm combining. So I'm going to go ahead and combine that part right there. Okay. So I have, if I look over here, I'll go ahead and do this black. Negative times a negative gives you a positive. So that's going to be 6 times an imaginary 1 here. 6 times 1 gives you 6. X squared just comes down for the ride. And there is, if I erase this 1 right there, there is an I there. Okay. So there is an I here. This is the I. So I have 6 because this was a negative. Negative times a negative gives you a positive. 6 times the 1 that was there gives you 6. X squared comes down and the I comes down. Okay. So all I'm doing right now is I am simplifying or combining like terms. I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing here. Okay. So over here, positive 21 times negative 1 gives you negative 21. The x comes down. There's no i's here. So this right here is going to be my final answer. Okay, I can't combine these because this has an I here, this does not. And this is x squared, this is not. Okay, so I'm done with model problem number 1. You cannot put this into the calculator as is because it has these x's in it. Okay, so unless you store a number for x, it's going to give you something totally off. All right. This one here, though, on the other hand, does not have any x's. So low-key, you could literally just go 9 minus parentheses. See what I'm doing? Just typing it in. 5 minus 7 I squared. Close parentheses. Nope, the square is on the outside. See? I just caught myself. Right over here, and this is where you put the square. See that? It has to match exactly. And then I hit enter, and I'm going to get 33 plus 70i. So my final answer here is going to be 33 plus 70i. Okay? So now let me show you why that comes about. So it still took a break for me. 9 minus, and then here I have 5 minus 7i squared. So 5 minus 7i, I'm going to square it, which means that we're going to multiply it by itself. 5 minus 7i. Okay. All right. So the 9 minus is literally just going to come down. So I have 9 minus. Here I'm going to do the box method or FOIL, whichever one you want, just because I'm in the practice of doing boxes. Let me just go ahead and do that. So I have 5 minus 7i, 5 minus 7i. 5 times 5 is 25. Negative 7i times 5 is negative 35i. 5 times negative 7i is negative 35i. And negative 7i times negative 7i is 49i squared. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and combine the diagonal. So I have 25, negative 35i, and negative 35i. When I add them, give me negative 70i. And then this 49, so positive 49i squared comes down. All right, we're getting there. So now, there's two things you could do right now. You can go ahead and be like, oh, I remember this I squared is the same thing as negative 1. You could do that, or you can go ahead and distribute this. So this is like an imaginary 1 here. So negative 1 times 25 is the same thing as 9 minus 25. Negative 1 times negative 70i is positive 70i. Negative 1 times 49i squared is negative 49i squared. Okay? And then this is where you can remember the I squared. At some point, you do need to take this I squared and make it equal to negative 1. So I want to refresh your memory right here with the calculator, right? I squared is equal to negative 1. Do you see that? So I'll go ahead and do that part now because I didn't substitute that in. So let me change a color so you can see what I'm doing. So I'm taking this I squared right here and I'm substituting in negative 1. So I have negative 49 times negative 1. Everything else just comes down. Plus 70i minus 25, 9. All right. So I already know what my final answer is going to be, but I want to show you why. Negative 49 times negative 1 is going to be plus 49. The 70i comes down. 70i. The 9 minus 25 comes down. And there's a plus sign here. So now it's just straight calculator. So I have 9 combined like terms, right? 9 minus 25 plus 49. And hopefully that gives me 33. And it does. Good. So what I did is I just combined like terms. So let me just show you which ones I did. Right, so I combined the 9 with the minus 25 and the plus 49. And when I combine those lovely things, I get 33, and the plus 70i literally just comes down. Okay, so that's how I get this answer, and this is my final answer. And again, the calculator gave me that off rip, okay, off the bat. So go ahead and do this check for understanding, and you want to put it in a plus or minus bi form, and that literally just means like this, right? You want to put a number, a plus or a minus sign, and then another number, and then the I after that. This is here to kind of refresh your memory about what a plus bi is. Okay, go ahead.